where the jungle is going to be starts to move around himself. This constant flow is good communication from RNG, and it all starts by pressuring the blue buff, knowing that Crown's in base.
Seeing that Camille stat coming out of Cuvée, ready to bring the power to this game, and it's going to be even scarier kind of if he's left alone up there to his own divide. Xiaohu slowly roaming down, and without vision of that mid lane, Samsung feels like they don't have enough to stay on the bot turret.
And we've seen this Syndra pick here against Struggle, against Galio. We've seen it so many times. When you blind pick Syndra, Galio comes in return. But this one was a Galio blind pick, answered by Crown with Syndra. And it's hard because you're going to get pushed in this lane, or at least the lane will like evenly push against each other, but you can't kill the Galio. He forces you back, and then you have to give him the wave, and he gets to move first, like we saw before.
Samsung now looking towards the opposite side of the map, knowing they can't really deal with bottom lane, just evacuating the premises. Ambition and Crown are unlocked, but Letme has been playing so passively and safe for like 2 minutes now. He is just so afraid of what Samsung want to do towards him. They're looking towards bottom again. MLXG is 6.
Ambition's on the way from base, but a TP coming. He hits the Q onto Ruler.
Slowly in, nice wild growth, stops a bit of the damage. MLXG under the turret gets one save, but it's going to be the return kill. They're trying to keep going on to Ruler. They're trying to get control of the lane. If they lose MLXG and more, completely not worth. They have traded one for Ruler, and now they will try for more. Looking at Ming very low. Uzi gets the ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. He starts to fire back. Knows he has the Gromp damage, and here comes the burn from Letme. Crown gets himself into a bad spot. Has to flash out. Ming does finally fall. He was so low the entire time, and Samsung wanted it.
That was a 2-for-1 here. Samsung read the play. They know that RNG's win condition is trying to get this bot lane tower down, get Uzi ahead, because up in top lane, Letme is struggling. He can't do a whole lot in the 1v1. Ambition was on the way, and Ruler kind of just took the free kill when they dove onto him.
Yeah, a very hard time trying to kill Ruler at all, and it was well executed by Samsung on the flip side. Cuvée has teleport, chooses not to use. Actually, it was just on cooldown before this. But MLXG probably shouldn't take this Q. He should look towards a ward hop of some kind. Ruler's 6, Core JJ has W, and yes, it gets Xiaohu into the fray in the correct position, but he's killing himself and kicks Ruler away.
Yeah, exactly. And he could have waited for Letme to join a little bit longer. There was no Rumble ulti available either, so going for the play without all the cooldowns available was risky. And of course, with Samsung reacting well here, Ambition coming down and Crown moving in, they get a 2-for-1 trade to keep the tower alive, and Cuvée gets a ton of damage on the top lane tower. Another replay.
Oh, I'm guessing we missed something while we were...
It's the farming of Core JJ. Look at that.
It's so good.
Former 80 carry last hitting.
Wait a minute. That was great. There's another one.
He's pretty good.
All right.
I like it. Nothing is actually happening live just yet.
All right.
Nothing to worry about.
I'm really confused. That was...
We're back, baby.
We are back, and they are back to the mid lane here. Teleport is just about to be up for Xiaohu, so if they need to go somewhere to help this bot lane once again, they got the pressure on the turret that could take it down. A slight rotation from both MLXG towards that area, but they're hovering.
And right now we have Ardent Sensor already and Core JJ after that little fight where the Lulu picked up a kill and an assist. On your screen right now, you see the goal graph from week 1 when these two teams played each other. Fairly even during the first 10 to 20 minutes, and then a massive spike in favor of RNG. Big engage in the mid lane, led into 2 fights in a row, and then the game was done.
Yeah, I've seen a very interesting dynamic from RNG at this tournament where they want to be going forwards, but they're picking their moments a bit more cautiously, and it does seem to revolve very heavily around item spike timings. And as an example, at this point in the game, they are not at any position to fight. They don't have an Ardent Sensor compared to their opponent, so they won't choose to fight at a moment like this. However, once they complete it, they may start looking aggressively.
They lost a lot on that little trade before because, again, Cuvée is just left alone. We talked about the Trinity Force. Already getting the Sheen is a big spike with the extra damage coming from his Q. MLXG's top lane trying to help him. Meanwhile, Samsung are fighting the mid.
Well, they know they have the jungler there, and it is MLXG trying to say, pick that fight top lane, get him to dive in so we have the ground control on him. And Letme tries to see if anybody's there for the counter. MLXG moves in.
It makes you wonder if he's ganking or if he's counter-ganking as well, but he's finally seen his opportunity. And it looks like he's going to try to seize this, assuming Cuvée will fight him, but this is what happens on the opposite side.
Exactly, Cuvée is a smart player. He knows his jungler is in the bottom lane, so he has no backup available. There's also Galio in the game, so right now, the Camille needs to just be passive. RNG's decision to go top here was not the correct one. You need to find a way to try and protect this bottom side, otherwise you're going to lose a tower, probably the first Drake as well. And Cube was never going to play aggressive top when he knows his entire team is on the bottom side.
See what they can continue to do. 2-1 here. Just about 500 gold lead, 13 minutes in. Both of these teams obviously 4-1 coming out of the group stage. Samsung Galaxy looking to get the lead in the beginning. It did not happen for them in game 1 when RNG took the win. Remember, that game was just 27 minutes long, which means it ends in 14 minutes. I don't think we're going to have that this game.
Fairly unlikely given the state of the game at the moment. If Samsung are ever in a winning position, they're a bit more methodical with how they play this one out. A good opportunity here, however, for Samsung to try and make some plays around the Drake, given they just gave the blue buff over to Crown if they want. But given the jungle spawn timings, they seem to be on the opposite side of things.
Yep. 2 nice pink wards pushed forward. You can see MLXG just placed one and cleared. They also have Tribush locked down. So with that bottom pressure, Let Me gets a little aggression, but this could kind of fan out into something big.
And RNG now can play around bot lane without tower diving Samsung. They just need to kill this tower. Uzi needs a few seconds near it. Have MLXG on the bottom side. Have the Galio move slightly down the river so he can always ulti. And then it should be enough pressure that allows RNG to take the first tower of the game.
It might just be that brute force. They already saw him coming through the Krug ward. Mid lane is pushed up, so Xiaohu has a chance to make his presence known in this bot lane if they do require it. Crown is just coming back in a lane, so they may be able to mismatch that very well in favor of RNG.
It feels like they need the Galio down here to try and make any play, and we're at a point, obviously the ward has spotted MLXG, but Sejuani was also on the way down, so the Spidey sensors were well and truly there for the Samsung roster. This Lee Sin 0-1-1 scoreline, not the most impactful champion right now for what usually has a decent early game.
MLXG 1-2 in his Worlds play on that Lee Sin, so he's trying to up that record just a little bit. Connects the Sonic Wave, resonating strike, and that resonates with RNG for another kill. Xiaohu starts to get a little bigger.
Last time they used all the flashes and didn't kill Ambition. This time around only had to use MLXG's flash and they get the kill as well. Jungler is down now. Can they use it to secure the bot lane tower? Once again, it requires MLXG to be around the bot lane and the Galio to be in position to ulti. That's what they're doing on the minimap at least, while Let Me is just trying to stay alive in top.
Yeah, no flash, no kick for the Lee Sin means that Xiaohu is even more important, and so it looks like RNG may take the easy option, which is the Cloud Drake available for free. Top side of the map has teleports respectively for both of them as well, and so whilst Let Me is holding on, the closer he gets to level 11, the better their dive starts to look.
Well, Xiaohu is now on the way, so again, it's about getting this top lane or bot lane tower down before Cube can kill the top lane tower in the top. You're dealing with this Camille that's going to outscale your top laner. We get the play, we get the Drake and the tower.
Pure pressure here coming in from RNG. It looks like QV will be the answer shortly after, which nicely opens up the map.
Just in time.
And again, the reason this happens for QV, it looks like a 1v1 granted. It's still the fact that Crown was up here, that Ambition and Crown were up here. All of the 1v1 pressure is actually perceived as Let Me to be 1v3, God knows how many, right? He can't place vision. MLXG is always on the bottom side of the map. He is making plays, however, while he's down there.
Great kick in, gets himself right in the middle of the fight, and RNG starting to collapse a bit more for these plays.
Good aggressive move here, but obviously Ambition got his wards down, so technically did his job before he died. And it was just a trade, 1-for-1 in turrets and losing a Cloud Drake, so definitely a small advantage for RNG, but nothing huge. Samsung are happy letting QV scale into this late game here. The Rage play is completely on the side of Ruler as well. And while there's less tanks in this game than normal, we're going to have to really explosive fights.
Yeah, and whilst we're scaling into items, if we look at the immediate item spikes, RNG have them. Every single member of the team has completed one major item. We just got the Trinity Force from QV though, and that may be the differentiator here. Maybe Samsung look at this and say we can actually fight now. We're more confident, or we're only going to split push because he's got his Trinity Force.
Exactly, yeah. QV, if it's up to him, it's a 1v1 game. Doesn't care about the rest of the map, just want to fight this Rumble 24/7. If you want to force around an objective, at the moment it's Rift Herald we're really looking at. RNG needs to set up vision though and push the top lane before they can even start it, and then they still risk maybe a bad fight.
Yeah.
Slow movement from everybody here, jockeying for position now. Rift Herald could be something to fight over to open up that next turret, but really it's just the jockey for position if anybody is willing to go for it at this point. Nobody wants to commit.
Yeah, and also Uzi's not going to win the 2v2 against the Rage Blade on the Devour. So I
Yeah.
feel like 3 games in a row we've seen this now, where you get Rage Blade versus 24s, the Rage Blade 1 wins out. You can see RNG's thought process here in trying to force this fight around the Rift Herald.
He knows.
And I want to see if there was a reaction there to his Sonic Wave hitting. May try to do a bit of damage to it. Teleports up for both of the bot laners, but QV does have Let Me pushed in at the moment.
All right, we get the force here. Let Me is sitting very far back in his lane, so he can't TP away without getting stunned. But QV is using his window after pushing the bot lane to move up, realizing maybe he won't make it in time. And RNG here, because they have all these items complete, as you highlighted, Rusty, secure the Rift Herald.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Quick movement, quick kick. Chain of Corruption brings it over for a stun. Only Uzi gets locked up, but he'd already buffered the jump. No jump forward for QV as they get themselves to safety.
They use a lot to get themselves out. A live Xiao who doesn't ult because he knew Crown would cancel it as well, so he flashes over the wall. Big flash. They get out safely. They'll be happy with that because it looks like Samsung don't have a trade available.
Yeah, gotta criticize that play from Samsung. Way too late they're reacting and saying they want to fight this one. They had time, but Rift Herald died while Ruler was clearing the wave in top, and I think then you just don't go for the fight.
And the other thing as well is when you just take stock at the end of the fight or the trade, QV teleported, Let Me didn't. So whilst he had control of the bottom lane 1v1, he walked up, he still teleported in the end, where the Rumble didn't.
Let Me's like, we don't want to fight here, we just take it and leave. What are you doing? I mean, Samsung here, I think, quick panic moment after seeing the Rift Herald die, being like, oh, we need to get something back here, we're losing something, and end up over-forcing a play that's cost them a TP that will slow them down now for the next few minutes.
I wonder what kind of fight they could draw towards the top side. If MLXG is mid with that damage, also gets Let Me possibly, they could really work something with Xiaohu heading towards that aggression. Looks like they kind of fold on that for now. It may just be Rift Herald towards mid as we see Uzi coming out of the base.
Certainly could be the Rift Herald play. MLXG's the one to look towards as he has picked it up in this case. One other thing, though, that is spawning just there is the Baron. And when you look at the wards on the minimap, it's pretty red, pretty Samsung-oriented. They're doing very well with their vision control, even though the Herald went under the nose of them. And RNG pick it up. Now they're established in the area, which means they can start to control that area.
I think they're a little taken off. That was kind of a big audacity play from RNG. They said, what? They did that? It's kind of the situation you saw Samsung in for that moment. Now, however, they make their way up to try and protect the Rift Herald used towards the top side as they got mid pushed out.
Meanwhile, down the bottom lane, Crown are trying to make sure they can kill a tower and the Rumble so they can trade objectives here. QV going in!
Ultimatum onto Let Me. Here comes the damage from Crown. They unleash all the power to take that down, but it's up to Samsung on the top side to protect this second tier.
Yeah, Crown just needs to recall and get up here and defend the turret because there's still a Rift Herald pushing in. Meanwhile, Xiao is in the mid lane, not in range to ulti just yet, and the wave is dying.
Yeah, they didn't know where Xiaohu was, though, so it'll disengage now. So far, so good from both teams as far as trades go, because they do have a turret killed down in the bottom lane. Samsung are doing their best to focus on getting QV ahead. RNG, they're looking at Uzi, but they're looking at the whole map, and they want to get these structures down.
A few more tactical sweeps to clear the wave. He'll get himself pushed up and then pushed out. See how much money he has to spend, sitting on 2.5 thousand. QV is going to go get some items.
And we're seeing some small moves here, kind of being a little bit off in terms of timing from RNG's side. When you spawn the Rift Herald top, be ready with your Galio so he can actually join either in the bottom lane to defend with the Rumble in a 2v2, or go top lane and join the push in for another turret. But Xiaohu was back in base when that Rift Herald was spawned. That meant that Let Me couldn't actually stay safe in the bot lane, because otherwise Rumble can just ulti the wave bot, and in case they tower dive him, Galio ultis in on him, and you can actually get a turret on top side and try and defend bot. But because Xiaohu was in base when it all happened, Samsung could trade 1-for-1.
Mountain Drake picked up by RNG as they have complete objective control on the map this game. It looks like they'll be able to start crushing down a bit more. Goes over to Infernal Drake as well, so they might just have their eyes on that one. The jump in, it's going to be the Uzi initiation. Would we have expected any less as Xiaohu comes in over his shoulder?
Now they are pressuring the mid lane out of turret. That's the biggest win of all. Lulu was the person that ulted as Barrett's ambition.
Good hit. Oh, just out of range of actually locking anybody up. They don't have to use too much to get out of that, and are now looking to possibly turn. Uzi up on the right side, says Xiaohu, get in front, let's get the taunt as mid King, or I'm sorry, MLXG taking a bit of damage towards the bottom side, and RNG controls mid, forcing Samsung out.
Hitting those big ultis will be so important in this game with less tanks than normally.
Yeah.
It's not this, 20-second long fight of just hitting the front line on both sides. If a Rumble gets hit by that ulti, he might die very quickly. Same thing for a Camille on the other side on Samsung here. So, MLXG!
Very low, the last few orbs on the ground. Seal the deal, and Crown comes up with a solo kill.
Remember that deep vision Rusty talked about a few minutes ago? Well, Samsung went back in and placed it again, and just found the jungler.
They certainly did. They found him at the Wolf camp, and they'll get themselves the easy pick. Well done from Crown. His awareness at the moment of the map has been outstanding. As once again, we're setting up around this middle lane. The mid lane outer turret is what Samsung want. RNG just got it. So the map's slightly more open for RNG in that respect. It unlocks easier movements to something like Baron or Drake.
RNG have been missing an easier way to start a fight. They've tried a few times where it's Uzi jumping in or MLXG trying to land a skill shot into a big insect play. But Samsung have been able to kind of disengage most of them, at least. So we're not seeing the same thing we saw in the first week of the group stages, where there was the Jarvan to always force team fights. It's not in this game. Much harder for RNG to do that.
Picking up the scuttle as well on the way in.
Feeling it.
Yeah, that's nice. Always feels good to be able to get that one over on the opponent. Cuvée wasting a bit of time, heads back, still very, very big, and I believe you talk about it a little bit. They haven't really seen Cuvée do damage to anyone other than Let Me. So once he gets into this fight, he may start tearing through a few of these members of RNG.
Oh yeah, there's a real world scenario where Cuvée just one-hits Uzi. He's got a Janna to protect him though, so the stars will have to align for Samsung. I think a lot of this comes down to ambitions engage, or Crown getting one of these crazy stuns off that can set everything up. Ruler exists as well as someone that could help with the engage, but for me it's all about ambition.
Luckily for Samsung, they can just play passive with the 4 members. With Ruler and Crown Ambition up here, because Cuvée will just constantly perma-push bot lane. It's on RNG to force a play to force Cuvée away from that lane. They have double TPs that they can try and 2v1 gank him, but that's difficult because one of them is a Galio, not really dealing any damage. And forcing that team fight, as we talked about before, is really difficult with RNG's comp, so they don't have a good way of stopping Cuvée from pushing, other than just starting the Baron straight up and force a 5-on-5 team fight around the big objective.
And we're starting to see that in the CS discrepancy as well. Crown's getting a few more lanes to himself. 40 CS in the top lane, 40 CS lead for Crown, which means bigger item spikes, and Samsung's going to start controlling objectives and controlling these turrets again.
Of course, to contrast that, when we look at the AD carry position, the 1-item Rage Blade is big for Ruler, but so's the 2-item crit build for Uzi, and then he's got the Zeal on top of that. So doing very well for himself is RNG's AD carry. It's starting to ramp up to be a very big deal, especially when the top laners in this game aren't Maokai Cho'Gath.
Exactly. And RNG needs vision control around Baron. That's the first step to forcing the objective. But in order to do that, you need to be able to control mid lane. And they haven't been able to do that against Ruler, who's just instantly clearing the wave every single time. And then it's Samsung walking into the river. They place their vision, and they're telling Cuvée, go man, just start pushing. At some point, you're going to kill this Rumble 1v1, and you're going to take a tower. We just defend up here.
Cuvé's role right now is just be that annoying guy that keeps split pushing, pull the other guy to you, don't ever let them have 5, make him question the teleport, and he's doing a damn good job of it right now. Questioning if he's down there, you can see the pings, but he's just hovering, playing that game. Schrodinger's Camille.
Everyone's playing the game at the same time. When Uzi disappears, Cuvée shows respect. When Uzi shows himself, the rest of Samsung just run at him and try and pick him off. They're on control wards. Vision control is completely Samsung, but RNG aren't falling for any baits needlessly. They're protecting Let Me by just being invisible.
Push towards mid, possibly the ulti here. Whimsy onto Ruler. They want to jump onto Uzi. Now they can easily get onto him, but he forces the flash after Ambition comes in with the ultimate. Nice try to start the play there, but they didn't find the target, and now RNG may have the chance to turn around. Ruler's got the wild go flash in from Xiaohu. The finishing touches from Uzi on the outside. Scattered. He gets scattered back. Cuvée might have an entry now, but they jump left and right. Cuvée finds one, but the rest of RNG find him.
That was Samsung trying to force a fight here because Cuvée was moving from bot lane to the mid lane. RNG said, thank you, we want to fight. That's the only way for us to win, and they took the fight. fight.
It goes perfect for RNG, except for Cuvee getting a big play in the end to find Ming. Ming did expertly navigate the fight at the beginning. RNG still come out on top, get themselves some turrets in the middle lane. A bit of an inflation of gold in their pockets will be fantastic to have, as long as they don't give Samsung a Baron on respawn. These recalls still have to work out from RNG.
See how they pan out after this. We'll see the fight one more time, as Cuvee is just waiting patiently.
Everyone is ready for this fight here. Double TP coming in early from RNG. Samson enforcing the engage here. Ruler takes a lot of damage up on the top side, even a Rumble ulti used onto him. So every single ulti so far is blown on Ruler specifically. Then the flash taunt from Xiaohu, and now there is enough DPS to actually kill the Varus.
And still ultimately played well by Ming to survive until the point where he goes down. Uzi playing well, Ruler playing well, even with all of the ultimates thrown on him, just shows that these teams have got big priorities set on killing their opponents, not protecting themselves.
It was fun to see both teams actually look to start the fight at the same time. Double TP came in just when Samson moved out towards the mid.
Here we go.
This is the Baron start we mentioned before to force the 5-on-5.
The smite's there, remember no Cho'Gath. It's the smite fight, a level 13 to a level 12, which gives a bit more damage. Uzi picks up the Baron. Ambition's left in the back of the pit, but do they have enough damage? They want to focus something else. Ruler is just making Xiaohu a pincushion, and they turn on him. Here's the attack, there's the kill. Lemmy gets the first one, and the fight opens up as Ambition makes it away limping.
Uzi barely doesn't get that kill, but RNG with the Baron compliments of a Tristana auto attack. They got Crown.
So many big things just happened the last few minutes. The team fight in the mid lane allowed RNG to get away from a split pushing game and force a Baron fight. They rush it down, quick shot calling. Samsung react by trying to fight, and they lose the fight.
Very reminiscent of game one. We said 14 minutes ago it didn't look too much the same, but a 20-minute fight swings the game in favor of RNG, and the base is wide open now on the side of Samsung Galaxy.
For just a second there, it looked like RNG were going to keep moving forwards, but they cut the wave, they look towards bottom. They won't go for two inhibitors. Crown's the only person left dead, but that is a big swing of power.
And as soon as we get this replay, let's take a very close look at Ruler. He's mispositioning in this team fight here. Notice how as soon as the Baron dies, the fight breaks out. AD carry from Samsung down here in the middle of your screen actually is where you need to look. Notice how he's actually walking into melee range of Xiaohu, not respecting the fact that everything can then land onto him. He literally tells Xiaohu, please jump onto me, and then the Rumble ulti comes down as well, and the AD carry dies. You have to respect that. Galio. Ruler did not, and he died first.
And the most important part of all of this as Crown dies as well is when you think back to why is he even in melee range without flash from a fight that happened 1 minute before that. That's the big problem that you're experiencing. Cuvee 0 damage was kicked away by MLXG, just throwing that one out there as well. And
we're simply not seeing that late game prowess from Ruler we've seen in the LCK during the summer split. He's made some of these mistakes already during this tournament. Backfired big time here. Sure, they lose the Baron no matter what. But there's no reason as a rage played Varus, who you need to protect, to then walk into range of a Galio so he can CC you, and a Rumble ulti as well.
30 minutes just crested in the game, 6-5, and finally we break more than a few thousand of a gold lead. Now 4K, just about in favor of RNG. They're going to use this power, they're going to use their Drakes to now start dropping these turrets as they head towards the top side. Again, funneling into this. Could be a big hit for Ambition, but they have to find their targets. Crown trying to deliver damage from the outside. It does not look like RNG will give up. They are relentless, and they are not respecting the defense of Samsung Galaxy.
The engage is really weak from Samsung when Uzi, oh my god!
Flash in, gets a three-man top, Ruler record JJ, almost depleted immediately. It's gonna be Ambition going down first. In comes Xiaohu for a short trip, but he wants to join the party even more. Cuvee says walk this way, and RNG takes a few steps back to take a lot more forward. The inhibitor going down, and RNG looking at the Nexus.
RNG see a small opening, and then every single member on the same page just engage straight on to Samsung. Xiaohu's Galio's been spot on in this game here. It's setting up everyone else from RNG to succeed. They got the Baron buff, they got super minions, they want to finish.
Bringing in the minions on their back, the teleport now coming in. Xiaohu back into the fight from base, fully beefed up. They are going right onto Ruler. He gets measured, he gets downed, and now it's RNG looking at the Nexus turrets. lock in the first seed for Group C, and they will do so, heading to the quarterfinals.